Howdy and aloha, everyone. This is James with Mana Talk. Mana meaning mystical Polynesian power. Talk meaning use your words. All right, that's pretty much it. All right, thank you for being here. Pleasure to have you aboard. Hopefully some of you people will be paying attention to what's really going on out there. The big scare was, and for some it was a delight, that Donald Trump was dying and that he was having physical issues, which, the guy's 76, 70-something years old. So, nothing's going to be perfect at that age. We do know that Joe Biden was completely, he was cognitively, gone. Basically diffused from everything. Nothing he did was his decision. Everything they fed him was, from my perspective, just a bunch of bullshit. The guy was, in my opinion, in my perspective, in my research, everything that I've worked on with this guy, is that he's the best. He was the best puppet to illegitimately put into the presidency, and they forced it down our throats. Trump said, "You know what? I get it. Just do your fucking thing. I'll be back. Just don't worry. I'll be fucking back." Sure enough, that's what happened. So let's see what he says here about his disappearance, because this is, I think, what's important is we should play this.
About moving to this location, moving to Alabama, Huntsville in particular. So we're honored to do it. They really wanted it badly, and they got it. Peter?
President Trump, something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows, and also did a number of truths, long.
I just gotta say, Biden was MIA, missing in action, the whole fucking time. He did an interview like once every few months, or once a month, once every month and a half. This guy's on the TV all the fucking time. He's telling us what's going on. He says what's coming out of his mouth is not written. He's not following a script. There's some things I'm sure that he's saying, but it's from him, and you can totally see that. It's like night and day, wet and a rock. It's the fucking same thing. It's not the same fucking thing at all. And this big scare, and I was concerned. A lot of people were concerned.
Truths, I think.
It was bullshit.
Pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff. Well, it's fake news. It's just it's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, it's Labor Day weekend. So I would say a lot of people know I was very active this Labor Day. I had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent. Go ahead, Peter.
Something else. We know that this country has a huge problem with school shootings. You've said.
All right. There was something else. Anyway, it's just, for fuck's sakes. How do I how do I say this? I've got to say this because, and I really don't care if you disagree or not. The guy's a workaholic. He fucking is, and I've said this many times. None of you, and most of the people in his cabinet, cannot keep up with this guy. The guy fucking is constantly moving, constantly researching, constantly going over stuff with his cabinet, constantly this and that. The only thing that I'm concerned about is Howard Lutnick. I'm just saying there's something about him I just don't like. My spider sense tingles every time I talk about him. You know, it's this guy that lived next to Jeffrey Epstein for 20 years and used to go to a bunch of Davos meetings. That kind of concerns a lot of people. And I just got to say, he's not anything that any Demoncratic mainstream media source, ABC, CBS, by the way, a couple of these cable networks are going down or being scrutinized by the FCC for the blatant lies. I mean, they went after Benny Johnson and his family. I mean, it was crazy. If you don't know who Benny Johnson is, then you're just watching the wrong channel. But there's so much stuff out there that there's so much propaganda, so many just insidious talking points. There's so many blatant lies. It's just fucking out of control. But you know, speech is speech, and you're free to speak it. He's not limiting anything. He just lets people fucking say what they're going to say, and that's what they're going to say. And if you have a fucking problem with it, then, you know, you just don't know this guy. You just don't know this guy. I have a genuinely decent feeling when it comes to Donald Trump. If you disagree with me, then you're welcome to come on and we can have a debate. We can talk. I can give you all my proof of where this guy comes from, what he's about. You know, there's so much research I've done on him. And I started doing it basically when the Green Party decided to flush itself down the toilet with Jill Stein, especially in 2020, and when they were adamantly for mandatory vaccines. They were adamantly for social distancing. They were adamantly for, you know, everything fearful about COVID-19. It was just insanity, right? They jumped on that boat so fucking fast. It was crazy. But then I just started doing research on Trump and finding out the guy's not who they say he is. He's just not. And I know people that have been to Mar-a-Lago, that I've had dinner with them, and on countless times that I've talked to, and the guy's a real fucking stand-up dude. And if you think that's bullshit, then, you know, that's your perspective. And, you know, you're watching Rachel Maddow, you're watching Chris Hayes, you're listening to Anderson Cooper or whatever fucking is out there now. You know, you've been just played and fooled and conned by even Fox and a few others out there, especially like The View. It's just been insanity. And it's not insanity. It's a level of pontification, which is, you know, happens, a level of propaganda or just blatant lies that have been happening for so fucking long. It's insanity. It's totally insane. Let me just go here. I want to play something about Tin Pool. He did a little thing the other day. Let's look at the monotag. Love is like oxygen. You get too much, you get too high. Not
you all
enough.
sit up there and say it.
Oh, we're going to play that. That's a good one. But Tim Pool did this the other day, and I think people should understand this because it's relevant to what we've seen for a long time, especially 2020 and on, throughout the illegitimate presidency of Joe Biden. And I'm going to keep saying that because it's pretty much true. And if you want to debate me on it, let me know.
How many times does someone have to lie to you before you call them a liar? 1, 5, 20? It seems like many Americans are okay being lied to over and over and over again. Here's just one example. Michael Brown was a young black teenager, a gentle giant, who on August 9th, 2014, during a routine police stop in Ferguson, Missouri, raised his hands and pleaded for his life as he looked down the barrel of racist white police officer Darren Wilson's gun. Brown famously held his hands up and yelled, "Don't shoot," before he turned and ran. Wilson shot him 6 times in the back, killing him dead. If you bought that, you bought a lie. Here are the facts. Michael Brown was 6'4". He weighed 292 pounds, 80 pounds heavier than Officer Wilson. He was a giant, but there was nothing gentle about him. Brown and his friend had just robbed a convenience store. Wilson, in his police car, spotted them walking in the middle of the street. The 2 men matched the description of the thieves. Wilson drove up and told them to move to the sidewalk. Brown refused, blocked Wilson from opening his car door, punched the officer through the open window, and reached for Wilson's gun. Wilson fired in self-defense, striking Brown's hand. Brown ran. Wilson got out of the car and pursued him. Brown then suddenly turned and charged Wilson. Wilson repeatedly told him to stop, but Brown kept coming. Wilson shot Brown until Brown collapsed. A local grand jury and federal investigators from the Obama Justice Department concluded that Officer Wilson was justified in his use of deadly force.
Wow.
There is no evidence that Brown ever held his hands up and yelled, "Don't shoot." The whole story was manufactured by the media. It wasn't the first time. It wouldn't be the last, not by a long shot. The biggest whopper of them all was the Russia hoax, the entirely made-up story that Donald Trump, the candidate, and then Donald Trump, the President of the United States, was a Russian agent. This dark fantasy preoccupied the legacy media for 3 years. It involved dozens of interlocking lies, almost all of which were planted by Trump's Democratic opponent. Given the sad state of our corporate media, it is perfectly fitting that the New York Times and the Washington Post won Pulitzer Prizes, the highest award in journalism, for dutifully reporting each lie as if it were the gospel truth. Then there was the Charlottesville lie, that the president described neo-Nazis as very fine people at a press conference following a riot in Charlottesville, Virginia, in August of 2017. He never said any such thing. There's a transcript of the press conference to prove it. The real quote was, "I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists. They should be condemned totally." No matter. The media had manufactured the story, and they were sticking to it. Additional common sense evidence to the contrary, like the president has Jewish grandchildren, was simply ignored. Or how about the laptop from hell? The computer that Hunter Biden left at a computer repair shop and never picked up. That story was broken by the New York Post in October 2020. In addition to files depicting Hunter's personal predilections, emails and text messages on the laptop suggested that his father, presidential candidate Joe Biden, was involved in corrupt business dealings with the Russians, the Ukrainians, and the Chinese. Twitter immediately banned the New York Post story from being shared on its platform.
Twitter that was not owned by Elon Musk at the time.
Did the legacy media jump all over this egregious violation of the freedom of the press? No. They jumped all over the fiction that it was another Russian disinformation campaign. For the record, I don't care whether you think Trump is great or horrible. The issue is not Trump. The issue is truth. How do you determine who's telling it? One obvious way, as I've already suggested, is if someone or some news source lies over and over again, you may not want to trust them. Who told you that Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh was a sexual abuser and a gang rapist? Or that a Catholic high school kid cruelly mocked a Native American war veteran on
That didn't happen either.
the steps of the Lincoln Memorial?
I've researched all these. And if you look at some of my videos and several of my channels, this is my first YouTube channel. This was taken down in mid-2020 because I was proving to the world that the mRNA fluvid-19 thingamajig that people wanted to take for basically the common thing, flu, was going to save them. But I knew what it really was. It was and still is a genocidal bioweapon. If you think that's not the case, then you're welcome to come on and debate me. It's my perspective, it's my conclusions, it's my theories. But I've been pretty spot on. And there's a ton of evidence to support, unequivocal evidence to support that I was accurate at that time and still am. But no, mainstream media that's owned by Big Pharma and owned by the globalist predator class that wants 2/3 of the planet's population to be wiped out so they can hoard the rest of it themselves and easily control 2 billion because they can't control 8 billion. That's their goal. And I've been saying this for a long time. And I think Trump understands what they're doing now. And I'll show you why in a minute.
Or that mounted border agents used whips to control migrants at the Texas border.
That didn't happen either.
The legacy media, the corporate media, the establishment media, whatever you want to call them. They've lied to your face, and they'll keep lying. You can keep believing their lies, or you can show a little curiosity and take some responsibility. Read past the headlines. Consume information from across the political spectrum.
Yeah.
Determine for yourself who deserves your trust and who doesn't. In the process, you'll be surprised how much you will learn. This is how you become an informed citizen. Now that's a novel idea. I'm Tim Pool, host of Timcast for Prager University.
Informed citizen. So what I've been doing for a long time is I will, do my very best to listen to Rachel Maddow. I'll do my very best to, and I subscribe to all of them. To MSNBC, Fox, and I read headlines here and there and all kinds of stuff. I don't know if you guys remember that one where the New York Times came out with an article saying, like, right off the bat, critical thinking is not the thing to do. And they they were against it. And then there were other ads or similar marketing ploys or campaigns to make it seem like what we say is biblical, or what the mainstream media says should not be questioned. And that's just a dumbing down of you as an informed citizen. That's all that they're trying to do, is they're trying to put you in a place where they use fear, they use your emotions. It's very, the whole marketing thing is brilliant, but it's been like this for a long time. I was in marketing, I was in advertising, I know the techniques. There's abstracts, the camera angles, the way people speak, the words that they use, everything that's rehearsed. The show is still going on the Democratic side. It's been a fucking show. And they every time they think they're going somewhere, they start doing their little devil dances. Right? And they start doing these dances like everything's great. But it wasn't. It was a horrific time during the illegitimate Biden administration. It was terrible. And it's getting better. It's been about 3/4 of the year. We're coming up on about 3/4 of the year. Trump is doing whatever he can to reverse and to fix everything that the illegitimate Biden administration did. Like I've said in the past, and look, I worked with illegal immigrants for a good part of my life, for a long time. My grandfather had for 29 years, he had an avocado ranch in Southern California, in San Diego. And I would work with these hardworking people, and I get it. They needed money, but their money they sent directly back to their families. They were fed. We'd pay for lunch. We'd pay for breakfast sometimes. And then I would work out in the fields with them. But at that time, and for the past few decades, it's been about, 400 to 500,000 illegal immigrants per year. In a matter of 4 years, it's somewhere around 20 million that were allowed to openly come into this country. And we all know why, and it was for the census and for voting illegally, because they've been trying to pass that illegal immigrants that have never been here, know nothing about our country, are able to vote. Tell me that makes sense. If you're going to say that makes sense, then you're either taking a lot of medications, you're on some serious drugs, or you've just been, or maybe a Dane Bramage or possibly you're just been drinking the actual toxic Kool-Aid that they've been injecting you with, or that you're just willingly guzzling down. But the problem here is, and what Tim Pool and so many others are saying, you've got to see both sides. You've got to dig a little deeper. If you take everything at face value, right? If you're not doing your research, I've done tons of research on Trump. I've done tons of research. Everybody knew about Russiagate bullshit. Everybody knew about 2020 election, and just a few people knew, and I definitely knew that COVID played into that. They were able to extend, because of the mail-in voting, the amount of time it would take to count all these. Some states were taking 2 or 3 weeks. Some took over a month. And it was just so they could finagle and do the numbers the way they wanted to give this presidency to an illegitimate candidate. He was a legitimate candidate, but it was done illegitimately. Let's just say that. But I proved how that worked and how they used it, and then I proved how the numbers were wrong. There was just so many things that I had proved on this channel that they didn't like. And it was controlled. Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything at that moment was totally controlled by, and they've talked about it. Matt Taibbi was in court, in a congressional hearing, just proving to the world that Twitter and a lot of these social media giants out there were getting instructions, and many times bullied, harassed, in a sense coerced, to take down people that were just asking questions. There was one time where I actually posted a piece of of the Bill of Rights. I posted that, and I got suspended for it. I got suspended on Facebook for posting just a paragraph or two of the Bill of Rights. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's crazy. It's called Orwellian, 1984. Right? It's Big Brother to the whole. It's Nazi. And they keep saying that. I'm a Polynesian, and I voted for Trump. So if I'm a Polynesian and I'm a Nazi now, is that what you're saying? Come on, don't even get me started to what these corporations did to my land and how they stole it. That's another topic. But for me, what's happening for a lot of people is my concern is that you're not at least peeking through the keyhole. Well, Jim's kind of making a little bit of sense here. Maybe I'll just crack the door open, the window, just listen a little bit, find out. Maybe I can do a little research on my own. Maybe I can, you might want to go to a library and get a dictionary that's from earlier than 2020. I've got one from 1997, and a lot of things have changed in that. And it's all intentional. There's a push out there from the globalists that are still being sponsored, that are still being taken care of by a lot of these states, a lot of our own states in the United States. Gavin Newsom just authorized $2.7 million to go to a globalist NGO. Why? It has nothing to do with us. Doesn't help anything with us. There's so many things about California that are just ass backwards. It's crazy. All right, let me just get back. I got to show this other thing that he was talking about. I think it was like 17. I think this is it, right? Let's see.
Somebody wanted to be politically correct. I actually think it's unpolitically correct. I think politically correct is to approve it, because there's nothing so popular as what's happened to our country. Our country is doing so well, but we had a liberal court gave us a very shocking ruling, and that ruling is basically saying that the trillions of dollars that are pouring into our country, putting us in a position like no country is anywhere in the world, that they'd like to see us that taken away. By the way, a lot of the people behind that lawsuit, that particular, are from foreign countries, I might add.
There's a video there is a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residents upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI generated.
So,
Actually, you can't open the windows. You know why? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
so that's a fake video.
Well, it's got to be because I.
He's totally correct. Oh, you guys, did you guys able to see that? Oh shit! Hold on. Let me just get that. Yeah. Dang it.
There is a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residents upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI generated.
So,
Actually, you can't open the windows. You know why?
You can't.
They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
Yeah.
a fake video.
Well, it's got to be because I know every window up there. The last place I'd be doing it is that because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every.
It's. I knew that. I knew that you can't open a window because they're severely bulletproof. The walls are made out of, Kevlar. I mean, we're talking inches thick. The place is tougher than Fort Knox. And then these people, and this guy's going to ask, hey, somebody's throwing a bag out of the window in the White House. Did you see this? It's like, bro, do your research, which they don't. This is ridiculously idiotic fucking news. Reporters, it's just ridiculous. And they want you to believe that this shit is happening. It's nuts. And yeah, of course it's AI. Of course it's AI. There's no, you can't open the windows at the White House. You can't. It doesn't happen. Right? It's everything. There's actually in the White House, and I know this, and I send you the video if you ever want it. The oxygen that's put in the White House is so pure and so filtered that if there was some type of biological or something, whatever, the White House has a filtering system that is better than anybody on the planet. People don't even know that either, but I do. The point I'm making, and the thing I'm making here is, you're being played. And I've been trying to fucking tell you guys. And there's still people out there, and I get it. I listen to Derek Bros, listen to Whitney Webb. I pay attention to Jason Burmis, pay attention to Rain Christians, pay attention to, where's Combo Couch? I haven't seen them. Jimmy Dore, I mean, everybody, right? I pay attention. Nico House, everybody. Some of the people that I've been around and with for a long time and been a part of. But the problem is you guys really need, has any of you asked to go to the White House? Has anybody said, hey, I would like to go to one of the desert dinners? Right? I'd like to talk to him myself. Can I get an interview? Has anybody tried? I think I'm going to try. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it. I'm gonna reach out to the publicist of the United States of America and give me about a month. I'm gonna see if I can do it. It might be sooner. And so I have a little YouTube channel. It hasn't been around for about 4 years because the Biden administration took it down with their Orwellian blah blah blah. But I'd like to interview Mr. Trump or somebody in his cabinet. Just something. We'd like to get to know him a little better. But all you have to do. Just pay attention to the guy. I've got the emails to the White House, right? I have emails. I'm subscribed. I get all the things, all the executive orders, everything he's doing every day. It all pops up. He tells everybody what the fuck he's doing. But there is a Trump derangement syndrome out there that's so bad. It's so terrible, right? And that he's rapist and all this other stuff. You don't know the guy. And what you know of him is from the legacy, corrupted mainstream media that gets their money from Big Pharma, the military-industrial complex, and others like NGOs like the World Economic Forum, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They get their money from The Clinton Foundation, Obama Foundation, all these foundations, these NGOs, just bullshit. It's just a way to hide money and move money. You have to know that at least. And no, but nobody likes what's going on with a lot of things. And now people are saying that the banks are starting to turn to total cash and they're going to use stable coin and we're not going to have cash anymore. I haven't heard that yet. We're hearing that it's going to happen, but I haven't heard it yet. Right? I mean, there's so many people that are speculating, but I'm just telling you the truth. The guy's a stand-up dude. And he stands there, and he's there for... I don't think I've ever seen an interview with the illegitimate Mr. whoever he is, Joe Biden, for more than like 38 minutes. I think that's like the longest time that he's ever been up talking to people. Usually when he's over the 20-minute mark, he's mumbling and you can't understand what he's saying. He goes on some weird tangents. That was such a mess. So that was embarrassing to watch. It was pathetic, embarrassing, and just shameful. It was elder abuse just watching it every fucking other month, because that's the only time he came out and said anything. But there's a lot of people standing behind Trump. There's a lot of people that are doing things with Trump. No, he's not perfect, but I'll tell you right now, it's a much better place to be in. I don't want woke craziness. I don't want transgender fucking boys in women's sports. No, I don't. Right? And I don't want kids being touched or fucked with until they're old enough to 18. Right? What the MAGA, MASA, Make America Safe Again, Make America Healthy Again, MAHA, Make America Great Again. We just avoided the most nonsensical, delusional, criminal, yes, absolutely, future for America. That's what we just were able to get away from. 77 million people voted for Trump, but according to 2020, 81 million voted for Biden, and then 72 million, I think, voted for Trump, but only 141 million or something like that actually voted. So the numbers didn't really pan out. The numbers, I'm not perfect on the numbers, but I'm close. So none of it made sense, and we're going to find out. So as I keep saying, and this for Trump, and I'm going to end with this, Trump has the royal flush. He can prove that J6 was bullshit and just a setup and a trap. He can prove that the committee are all a bunch of fucking criminals of J6. He can easily prove that 2020 was rigged and illegitimate for Joe Biden. He's already proving right now that Russiagate was just a bunch of bullshit organized through Clinton and Obama. Right? And he can prove that there's so much wasteful and criminal spending that has been happening. And Doge might just come back in and do some more work on these states, which I believe should happen. And now he's setting this country up, because there's going to be a time where he's just going to go all in. He has the royal flush. Everybody knows he has the royal flush. But some of them are still playing at the table. A lot of the Demoncrats are still playing at the table. And it's not good for all of them. All these frivolous court battles that he had to go through. I mean, the guy went to every single thing as he was supposed to. He did not reject or miss a subpoenaed time. He did everything he was supposed to. The guy plays by the book. And if you think that's not the case, then, I can't help you. I can't do anything for you. You're bought, you're paid for, you've been fooled, you've been played. Like I've always said, or maybe Mark Twain said this, I'm not really sure. Maybe it was paragraph, or what they call it. It is harder to fool. It is hard to prove that somebody. It is harder to prove to somebody that they've been fooled than it is just to simply fool you or fool them. And that's basically what a lot of people. It's just tough. Their ego, their hate. Yeah, it's just out of control. So this guy is kicking butt and taking no prisoners. And let me just play this real quick.
No, I'm not worried, dude. We'll get somebody else. I mean, the problem with Colorado is they have a very corrupt voting system.
Yeah.
Look, I have so many friends in Colorado. Anytime you have mail-in voting, you have corrupt elections. Very simple. It's very simple. Even Jimmy Carter said it with his commission. They set up a commission with him and Scoop Jackson and some people, highly regarded people. And they said the finding was, if you have mail-in voting, you will have corrupt elections. Well, your radical left governor decided that he was going to have all mail-in voting in Colorado. Once you have all mail-in voting, and for whatever reason, the Democrats cheat. And they cheat like, they're not stupid. That's the only thing. They're no good on policy. They're no good on management. They're no good at government. But they're great at cheating. And they stick together, too. I give them credit for sticking together. Please.
Obviously, this is a big.
He just fucking told you. That's exactly what's happening. If you don't think that's he has the power of having every nook and cranny of information across the spectrum, definitely across this country and most of the planet. So if he's saying to you that's the case, I totally believe him, and it's not, because I proved it myself. This, you know what? I'm just saying. I know there's going to be people that are going to watch this. Oh, you're fucking. Look, you've already bought. You're already fooled. You already played. There's no. If you don't get it by now, then you're gone. There's nothing I can do for you. You're past that point. You're definitely past the point. Oh, right here. It's probably a commercial, so be prepared.
Here's 3 signs why your dog is suffering from allergies. Did you know that your dog's paw licking, scratching, and chewing?
$2.7 million allocated to the Nature Conservancy. $78,000 is designated for the Point Reyes Rewilding Project. The rest is being spent on wages, planning, and indirect expenses, prompting accusations of mismanagement and profiteering at the expense of taxpayers. The Point Reyes Rewilding Project is set to transform about 16,000 acres of agricultural land within Point Reyes National Seashore into a scenic landscape zone focused on ecological restoration and wildlife conservation. This initiative is being criticized for prioritizing environmental goals over the region's historic ranching tradition and involves the closure of 12 ranches, 6 dairy and 6 beef, within 15 months. Governor Newsom has signed legislation directly supported by the Nature Conservancy that lines up with its environmental agenda.
Yeah, closing the ranches, that's the goal for the Demoncrats. I'm telling you. Yeah, and they are Demoncrats. They are. They're a bunch of satanic fucks. And I'm going to tell you right now, they don't deserve... You'll find out. It's all going to come out pretty soon. You're going to just go, what the fuck? You're just going, what the fuck? There's one more I think I should watch. What is it? I didn't get a chance to play this the other day. Yeah, I'm really still concerned about the data centers. Honestly, I just think they're just stupid. There's something that spells just we're going in the wrong direction. They eat up a lot of water. They destroy. I'm doing more research on it, but I know somebody that could get a lot more research than I could and do it well. Hopefully she's paying attention, because I know she would crush this data center thing, because it's all for AI, and I'm not a proponent of AI because it's in a fishbowl, supposedly, meaning that it's not going to turn loose. This piranha won't get out of the fishbowl, but if it ever does and hooks up to everything else, you're fucked. And it's been fed the wrong information for a long time. It's woke, we know that, and it's completely wrong in so many ways. And this is interesting.
Rami, welcome to California Insider. Marvin, it's great to have you on. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And Jeannie, it's great to have you on. Welcome.
Thank you.
We want to talk to you about the phenomena that's happening in California right now. About 1.2 million fake students applied last year to community colleges. This is almost 30% of new students that are applying. What's happening?
Having fraudulent enrollments is, again, it's nothing new. It's been going on for a long time. What made it catapulted and what was the springboard to a lot more was really when COVID happened. So when COVID happened, community colleges, not just our district, but many other districts throughout the whole state, I would say about 80% of our courses were face-to-face, just like we are right now. And maybe 10, 20% were online. And in some campuses it was 10% or less. That was before COVID. After COVID, we began to experiment with Zoom. So the number in many ways shifted, where 80% of our courses were now online as opposed to being face-to-face, and 20% or less were face-to-face. So the world, in many ways, in education changed completely over a span of 3 to 4 years. So what that change created is that if you have students who are online, they could take the class from anywhere from where they live. We have students who are taking our classes throughout the whole state, Eureka, Fresno, Sacramento, as well as this local area. We have students taking our classes from other states.
Yeah, it's most of them. It gets into it, but I ain't gonna play the whole fucking thing. Illegal immigration, right? Which is that's crazy. I mean, anyway, there's just so much going on. Anyway, all right. Thank you for watching. Yes, I voted for Trump, and I'm proud to have said that I did, and I'm okay with it. And if you don't like it, if you don't think it's a good idea, then I can't help you. The guy's stand up, and he's real, and he doesn't seem sick. He seems fine to me. Yeah, he's old. He's got some quirks, and people do. I got stuff that's it's just I'm fucking old. These things happen. You know what I mean? But the guy's fucking pretty cool, man, and I'm so proud of what he's doing, and I like what he's doing. It's not going to be perfect. He does have a few idiots in his ear, in my opinion, but hopefully the guy will, do a little more research, be a little more patient, and vet the people that are near him, that are in his ear, especially this Howard Lutnick motherfucker. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Montauk. Aloha.